You can't ticket me. This is my father's badge. Samantha Blake, 20 years old, holds up a captain's shield in her left hand as if it's a hall pass. The metal catches the light, and she waits for Officer Jason Morales to understand. Miss Blake, that badge belongs to a police captain. It doesn't belong to you. Please put your hands on the steering wheel. My dad's Captain Robert Blake. He runs traffic. One call and this is gone. The exchange is captured on body cam. The timestamp reads 11:19 a.m., November 13th, 2025. Officer Morales remains calm, professional, and by the book. He issues the citation anyway. Now, 3 weeks later, she stands in Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom still believing the badge is protection. Judge Caprio sets his pen down. Miss Blake, this court is not run on borrowed rank. That badge represents service. It doesn't grant immunity to family members. Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Like this video if you missed Judge Caprio, and subscribe to Order in the Court if you're above 50. Authority borrowed is authority misused. The clerk stands. Case number 2025TR6112, City of Providence versus Samantha Lynn Blake. Charges: stopping and standing in a marked fire lane, refusing a lawful order to provide identification, display of law enforcement identification not issued to the defendant, and verbal intimidation of an officer. Judge Caprio looks at the defendant. Miss Blake, do you have legal representation today? A man in a gray suit stands. Martin Chang, defense counsel for Miss Blake, Your Honor. Mr. Chang, is your client prepared to address these charges in full today? Your Honor, we're prepared to pay all applicable fines immediately and resolve this matter without further proceedings. Mr. Chang, this court is not a payment portal. We'll review the evidence. Sit down. Martin Chang hesitates, then sits. Judge Caprio flips a page. There's a notation here. Prior warning issued 8 months ago. Miss Blake received a campus parking citation at Providence College for parking in an emergency vehicle lane. The citation was withdrawn after intervention by campus security. Not criminal, but context. Miss Blake, do you recall that incident? Samantha shrugs. Campus security overreacted. It was handled. Handled by whom? I don't know. My dad knows people. Your father knows people. So you learned that consequences disappear when you invoke his position. That's not handling it. That's avoiding it. Prior campus warning entered as pattern context, not used as independent basis for punishment. Miss Blake, walk me through what happened on November 13th. I stopped in front of Kim's Market for literally 2 minutes to grab coffee. There was a fire lane, but nobody was using it. A cop came over and made this huge deal out of nothing. You parked in a marked fire lane. For 2 minutes. Fire lanes don't operate on timers, Miss Blake. They exist for emergency vehicle access. Fire lanes are for flames, not lattes. But no fire truck came. Because you were lucky. Mr. Kim, the shop owner, will speak to what did happen while you blocked that lane. Pattern interrupt. Quote from Harold Kim's written statement, delivery truck blocked, elderly customer waiting for prescription. Officer Morales, please take the stand. Officer Jason Morales steps forward, raises his right hand, and swears in. Officer Morales, please describe the incident that led to these charges. Yes, Your Honor. On November 13th at approximately 11:17 a.m., I observed a silver sedan parked in a marked fire lane in front of Kim's Market on Westminster Street. The vehicle was unoccupied. At 11:19 a.m., the driver, later identified as Samantha Blake, exited the store carrying a coffee. I approached and informed her she was parked in a fire lane and needed to move immediately. She stated, I was only inside for 2 minutes. I explained that fire lanes are for emergency access, not temporary parking. I requested her license and registration. She refused initially and pulled out a police captain's shield from her purse. She stated, You can't ticket me. This is my father's badge. I informed her the badge didn't belong to her and had no bearing on the violation. She stated, "Write it. I'll have you walking school crossings." Judge Caprio pauses. "Officer Morales, did you perceive that statement as a threat?" "Yes, Your Honor. A threat to my assignment based on her father's rank." "Let's hear it. Officer Harris, play the body cam audio. Just the relevant exchange." A brief hiss of static, then Samantha's voice, sharp and dismissive. "Write it. I'll have you walking school crossings." Judge Caprio lets the silence sit for a moment. "Miss Blake, did you make that statement to Officer Morales?" "Yeah, but I was annoyed." "Annoyance doesn't authorize threats. Officer Morales, how did you interpret that statement?" "As intimidation, Your Honor. An implied reassignment to a less desirable post because I was doing my job." Timestamp, 11 hours 19 minutes and 47 seconds, a M body cam audio excerpt. Logged. Judge Caprio turns to the clerk. "Miss Reyes, were there any contacts to this court regarding this case prior to today's hearing?" The clerk flips through a log. "Yes, Your Honor. 2 incoming calls and 1 voicemail, all from a number registered to the office of Captain Robert Blake, Providence Police Department." Timestamps. First call at 9:41 a. M. Second call at 11:58 a. M. Voicemail left at 12:23 p. M. Play the voicemail on the record. A male voice, professional and controlled. "This is calling from Captain Blake's office regarding case 2025-TR6112. The captain requests that this matter be resolved quietly before it proceeds to a public hearing. Please contact us at your earliest convenience." Martin Chang stands. "Your Honor, my client is not responsible for calls made by her father's office. This is prejudicial." Overruled. Transparency protects everyone. When any office attempts to shape a proceeding, that attempt goes on the public record. The voicemail stands. Timeline, 9:41 a. M. First call from Captain Blake's office. 11:58 a. M. Second call. 12:23 p.m. Voicemail left, requesting quiet resolution. Judge Caprio looks at the clerk again. "Is Mr. Harold Kim available to give a statement?" "He is, Your Honor." "By phone." "Put her through." A man's voice, calm but firm, fills the speaker. "Thank you, Your Honor. I own Kim's Market. That fire lane is critical for deliveries and emergency access. On November 13th, a vehicle blocked it for approximately 15 minutes. My delivery driver couldn't pull in. We had an elderly customer waiting for her blood pressure medication. She has mobility issues and couldn't walk to another pharmacy. That lane isn't a convenience, it's infrastructure. 1 blocked lane can cost a life." Samantha mutters something under her breath. Judge Caprio catches it. "Miss Blake, if you have something to say it clearly." "I said it wasn't 15 minutes. Officer Morales' report says you exited the store at 11:19 and the vehicle was still there when he arrived at 11:17. That's documented time. Mr. Kim, thank you. Your statement is on the record." The line clicks off. Pattern interrupt. 1 blocked lane can cost a life. Judge Caprio picks up another document. "Miss Reyes, this is a text message screenshot submitted by Officer Morales, recovered during the stop with the defendant's verbal consent. Can you read it? From Samantha Blake to an unnamed contact, timestamp 11:27 a.m. November 13th. Got stopped. Dad will fix it. Don't worry." Samantha's jaw tightens. "That was private." "It was discoverable. Miss Blake, let me lay out a timeline. Traffic stop at 11:17 a.m. Citation issued at 11:24 a.m. Your text sent at 11:27 a.m. First call from your father's office at 9:41 a.m. the next day. Someone moved fast. I didn't ask him to call. But you expected it. You told someone not to worry because your father would fix it. That's not confidence in your innocence. That's confidence in your father's intervention. Timeline ledger. 11:17 A.M. Officer Morales arrives at scene. 11:19 A.M. Defendant returns to vehicle. 11:24 A.M. Citation issued. 11:27 A.M. Defendant. Text sent. 9:41 A.M. Next day. First call from Captain Blake's office. 11:58 A.M. Next day. Second call. 12:23 P.M. Next day. Voicemail left. Martin Chang stands again, slower this time. Your Honor, given Captain Blake's position in the Providence Police Department, we request that the remainder of this hearing be handled with discretion. Public proceedings could create unnecessary tension within the department. Mr. Chang, fairness lives on record, not behind doors. This case stays public. Judge Caprio fixes Samantha with a calm, steady gaze. I'm going to ask you 3 yes or no questions. Did you park in a marked fire lane? Yes. Did you refuse to provide identification to Officer Morales and instead display your father's badge? I showed the badge to explain who I was. That's not a no. Did you display your father's badge instead of providing your own identification? Yes. Did you threaten Officer Morales' assignment by invoking your father's rank? Samantha hesitates. I made a comment. The comment was, I'll have you walking school crossings. Did you make that threat? Yes. 5 seconds. 7, 10, 12. Borrowed authority ran out of battery in 12 seconds. Judge Caprio leans forward. Miss Blake, I've noticed something in your testimony. When I ask about what you did, you're 20 years old adult enough to threaten an officer, adult enough to wave your father's badge. But when I ask about responsibility, you're suddenly 12 years old. It was only 2 minutes. I was annoyed. My dad will fix it. You're 20 when you boast, 12 when corrected. It can't be both. Samantha doesn't answer. Which one are you today, Miss Blake? 20. Then answer like it. Here are my findings. The evidence is overwhelming. Officer Morales' body cam footage, Mr. Kim's testimony, your own admissions, and the timeline of calls from your father's office establish that you parked in a fire lane, refused lawful orders, displayed law enforcement identification not issued to you, and verbally intimidated an officer by threatening his assignment. Judge Caprio pauses. This court does not weigh cases based on family rank or department connections. The badge is a shield for service, not a sword for favor. Miss Blake, your father's position as captain doesn't grant you immunity from traffic law. His badge represents the oath he took to serve and protect it, doesn't belong to you, and it doesn't excuse your conduct. He turns a page. I also note the prior campus warning. You were told once that emergency lanes matter. That citation was withdrawn after intervention. You learned the wrong lesson. You learned that invoking your father's position erases consequences. Today, that lesson ends. Evidence ledger. Body cam audio, officer narrative, shop owner testimony, text screenshot. Call log from Captain Blake's office. Timeline corroboration. Prior pattern of influence. The base fines total $640. Stopping and standing in a fire lane, $250. Refusing a lawful order, $150. Improper display of law enforcement identification, $140. Verbal intimidation of an officer, $100. Samantha exhales sharply. However, I'm staying a portion of that total $300 contingent on your full and timely completion of a restorative accountability plan. If you complete it, that portion is waived. If you don't, it's reinstated. Here's what the plan requires. First, written apologies to Officer Jason Morales and Harold Kim, not statements drafted by your father's office. Real apologies in your own words that name what you did. and what you learned. You will deliver them in person if both agree to meet you. If either declines, you'll mail them and the court will confirm receipt. Second, 100 hours of community service with the Providence Police Community Relations Division. You'll work on public outreach, complaint intake, and community education. No press coverage. No photo opportunities, just work. Third, you'll deliver 2 talks at local high schools on the topic, Respect the Badge. You'll explain what police badges represent, why family members don't have authority to use them, and the consequences of misusing law enforcement identification. Fourth, you'll write and record a public service announcement titled, Badges Protect, They Don't Excuse. The script will be vetted by this court. No family mentions. Plain truth. Fifth, you'll submit a 700-word written reflection titled Borrowed Power versus Earned Respect. It will address what you learned through this process. Mercy isn't a discount, it's a contract. Deadline schedule. Apologies within 14 days, service hours to begin within 10 days, talks within 90 days, PSA within 60 days, reflection due at final review. If you believe status should never bend justice, subscribe to Order in the Court. Additionally, I'm making the following recommendations on the record to the Municipal Court Administration and the Providence Police Department. 1. Establish a weekly ex parte influence log for all cases. Any off-record communication attempts from police command staff or their offices will be documented and published. 2. Implement a command contact recusal rule. If any court staff or officer is contacted by command-level personnel regarding a case involving their family member, that staff member must recuse or obtain supervisor authorization. 3. Create an officer retaliation shield protocol. Any officer who reports intimidation based on command-family connection will receive documented protection from retaliatory reassignment or discipline. 4. Develop a fire lane priority tow policy. Violations in fire lanes should trigger immediate tow protocols regardless of who owns the vehicle. 5. Create a youth education module on badge ethics to be distributed through schools, explaining that badges represent public service and can't be borrowed or misused. Ms. Reyes, please ensure copies of these recommendations are transmitted to the relevant agencies by end of business today. First ex parte influence log will be published within 30 days. Yes, Your Honor. First log release date, December 15, 2025, weekly thereafter. Late that afternoon, Captain Robert Blake enters the courthouse. He requests to speak with Judge Caprio. The court administrator informs the judge. Caprio agrees to a brief meeting with the clerk present and everything on the record. Judge Caprio, I'm Captain Robert Blake. I'd like to discuss my daughter's case. Captain, the case has been adjudicated. The ruling is on the record. With respect, Your Honor, I believe we could handle this internally, department to department. Captain, this is not your case to manage. Your daughter has counsel. She has a voice. The proceeding is closed and public. Authority ends where jurisdiction begins. I see. I understand, Your Honor. Captain, I respect your service. But your badge doesn't travel through family members. Your daughter will complete her sentence. If she does so with integrity, she'll learn what the badge actually represents. Thank you, Your Honor. Clerk note entered, 4:37 p.m. Meeting with Captain Blake. Case status explained. No further action. Over the next 4 months, Samantha completes the plan piece by piece. December 8th. Email receipt. Written apology delivered to Officer Morales. First draft rejected too formal, clearly written by someone else. Second draft accepted. I tried to use my father's badge to avoid responsibility. That dishonored him and his work. I'm sorry. Officer Morales's reply, apology accepted. Respect is earned by how you behave when no one can help you. December 10th. Email receipt, written apology delivered to Harold Kim. He replies, thank you. Fire lanes save seconds that save lives. December 14th, March 28th. Service logs from Police Community Relations. 100 hours completed over 14 weeks. Weekly summaries show progression. Week 3. Assisting with public inquiries. Professional. On time. Week 8. Helped coordinate neighborhood watch meeting. Residents responded well. Week 12. Led session on community trust. Ask thoughtful questions about how families affect officers' reputations. January 20th, February 28th. High school talk completion certificates. 2 talks delivered at Hope High School and Classical High School. Attendance, 94 total students. One teacher's comment. She was honest about misusing her father's badge. Students respected that. February 15th. PSA script submitted. First draft rejected by court for defensive tone. Clerk's note. Remove justifications. Explain consequences clearly. March 5th. Revised PSA script approved. Recording submitted March 10th. Script excerpt. I waved my father's police badge like it was mine. It wasn't. Badges represent service and sacrifice. They don't belong to family members. They can't excuse bad choices. Respect the badge by understanding what it means. March 25th. 700-word reflection submitted. Excerpt. I thought my father's badge gave me permission to ignore rules. I didn't understand that every time I invoked his rank, I made his job harder. When I threatened Officer Morales' assignment, I weaponized authority I didn't earn. Power borrowed is power misused. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned through conduct. Compliance ledger. 100 hours logged. 2 talks delivered. 1 PSA approved. 2 apologies accepted. 1 reflection filed. $340 balance remaining. 4 months after the original hearing, Samantha returns to court for final review. Judge Caprio reviews the submitted documents. Service logs. Talk certificates. Apology receipts, PSA recording, written reflection. Miss Blake, I've read everything. Summarize what you learned. Samantha stands. She's alone, no counsel, no father, no representative. Your Honor, I learned that badges represent service, not status. When I waved my father's badge, I dishonored what it stands for. When I told Officer Morales I'd have him walking school crossings, I tried to weaponize authority I didn't earn. When I expected my dad to fix it, I acted like accountability was optional. It's not. My father earned his badge through service. I can't borrow it to avoid consequences. What did you learn from working with community relations? That officers build trust through consistency, not connections. That when family members misuse badges, it damages that trust. That every time I invoked my father's rank, I made his job harder. What did you learn from Officer Morales? That respect is earned by how you behave when no one can help you. He treated me fairly even after I threatened him. That's the integrity badges represent. Judge Caprio nods. You stopped carrying a borrowed badge and started carrying real accountability. He signs a form. I'm waiving the suspended $300. You still owe $340 total, payable in installments. Your community service is complete. Your reflection demonstrates genuine understanding. This matter is closed. Thank you, Your Honor. Don't thank me. Thank the people who taught you what the badge really means. Should badge misuse require service with the Police Community Division, yes or no? Subscribe for Judge Caprio. 6 months later, the policies take effect. The weekly ex parte influence log launches. First quarter shows 2 contact attempts from command-level staff, both documented, both handled per protocol. 0 cases show evidence of influence on outcomes. The command contact recusal rule is implemented. Officers and staff report increased confidence in handling cases involving command families. The Officer Retaliation Shield Protocol is activated. 1 officer files a report in the first 6 months. Investigation confirms no retaliation occurred. Fire lane priority tow policy is adopted citywide. Fire lane violations receive immediate tow regardless of vehicle owner. Emergency vehicle access times improve by 14%. Youth education module on badge ethics is distributed to 31 schools. Post-program surveys show 89% of students demonstrate improved understanding of law enforcement authority and limitations. Press excerpt. Caprio Court implements badge misuse prevention reforms. 1 year after the hearing, Judge Frank Caprio receives a handwritten note on plain paper, no police department letterhead. Your Honor, I wanted you to know that I've continued volunteering with community relations. I'm not required to anymore, I choose to. Last week, a resident thanked me for helping her file a complaint. She said she was nervous about dealing with police, but I listened and helped her feel heard. I thought about Officer Morales, who treated me fairly even after I threatened him. I'm grateful you didn't let my father's badge erase that lesson. Thank you for teaching me what badges really protect. Respectfully, Samantha Blake. Judge Caprio files the note and writes a single line in his bench book. She entered carrying a borrowed badge and left carrying real accountability. On a quiet Friday afternoon, Judge Caprio finishes his last case of the week. Before leaving, he pulls up the docket from that Wednesday morning, the one where Samantha Blake waved her father's badge and learned that some things can't be borrowed. He thinks of her standing in the community relations office, answering phones, listening to residents, learning what service actually means. He thinks of Officer Morales, who stayed professional even when threatened. He thinks of the 5, 7, 10, 12 seconds of silence after she said she'd have him walking school crossings. He writes one final note for the case file. Badges protect downward, not upward. He turns off the light and locks the door. Dramatization for storytelling and education, not legal advice or reporting.